Hey friends, today I'm going to recap the movie Thunderbolts. Let's begin the video. But first, a spoiler alert. The film opens with Yelena, who appears to be lonely and disinterested in her life at the moment, as though it has lost all meaning. However, she is now on a mission and must destroy a lab, which she does with ease. As she is telling someone everything, a scientist unexpectedly shows up and asks if Valentina sent her. The scientist is attempting to explain to Yelena that Valentina is doing something incorrectly since Sentry is a bad project, but Yelena doesn't respond. However, he shoots himself during a fight before he can finish speaking. As a result, Yelena blows up the entire facility instead of finishing her duty in a clean manner. Bucky, on the other hand, is now pretending to be a Congress leader, a position that truly doesn't fit him. However, he has a purpose pertaining to Valentina's trial that brings him here. According to the court, she is accused of carrying out a number of tests, particularly on humans, with the goal of creating a superhuman. Valentina, however, disputes every accusation, claiming that she was given multiple duties at the CIA when the Avengers ceased to do their duties. After saying that, she leaves, pleading with her attorney to remove any evidence that could be used against her in order to keep her out of jail. In the meantime, we witness Yelena attempting to persuade Red Guardian to halt Valentina's activities. At first, Guardian tells her he's busy with his limo business, which seems to surprise her. However, he changes the subject after hearing her worries and claims that working with Valentina is a fantastic chance. Yelena is shocked by this, since she had just told him about her suffering and realized it was useless. She then leaves and phones Valentina to let her know that she isn't happy with her current tasks and to want a change of scenery. Yelena thinks Ghost is attempting to steal crucial information, so Valentina agrees and sends her to a facility where she must get rid of him. When she arrives, she discovers photos of dead bodies, classified documents. Then U.S. Agent John Walker tries to kill Yelena. Suddenly, Taskmaster appears as another person. She is pursuing John Walker. Ghost appears a few moments later. At that moment, a young man appears on the scene by accident. He feels lightheaded, identifies himself as Bob, but he doesn't know how he got there. Group discover the harsh reality that all of them had worked for Valentina at one time or another. Under her leadership, they have all completed covert operations. Although they are disposable, they are helpful, and nobody would even notice if they disappeared tomorrow. Ghost refuses to accept it. She attempts to run away and phase out, but something prevents her. A strange noise. It sounds like the entire place is about to collapse due to the deep, low hum that is growing. And that's precisely what's taking place. A trap has been set by Valentina. From her tablet, she begins to increase the temperature, turning the vault like a hellish incinerator. Ghost escapes in an instant after slipping through the wall. The others believe she left them, but she returns seconds before everything blows up. Suddenly, out of the blue, she is thrust into a recollection, in which she had, at the direction of her squad, led her babysitter far from home, resulting in the babysitter's murder. She is still troubled by this incident. She discovers her hand is on Bob's hand as she awakens. They all ignore it and go on. In the meantime, Valentina finds out that an unknown individual was also present and that the team has turned against her. She gives the order to kill all four. Then we learn that Red Guardian actually owned the limousine Valentina was using, and he heard everything she said. During a party, Bucky surreptitiously hands over his cards to Mel, Valentina's secretary, allowing her to forward any information she discovers to him. She declines at first, but after observing Valentina's behavior, she chooses to give Bucky the information. Although we don't yet know what that means, Valentina also learns that the enigmatic fourth person at the facility was actually a subject from her augmentation experiment and that he survived. The four of them flee together. But as the U.S. agent reaches out and pulls up, he begins to have flashbacks of his past, including his time as Captain America, the beginning of his decline, and the effects it had on his family, particularly how he lost sight of them and his wife abandoned him with their kid. They still haven't completely left the facility. There is a fierce battle scene once Valentina shows there, with all of her might. Bob tries to divert the soldiers as they nearly escape, and Valentina's men start shooting at them. When she tries to stop them, Bob appears to be triggered by the gunfire and takes off for the skies before collapsing back down in the same spot. Yelena reveals to Ghost and John Walker that Bob was Valentina's covert project. Alex, Red Guardian, who has overheard Valentina's plans and wants to protect his daughter, shows up with his limo as they are fleeing. He becomes overwhelmed while trying to save them. Bucky Barnes enters at that point and demolishes Valentina's tanks. Unfortunately, they were mistaken to believe that Bucky had come to save them. He intends to use them to undermine Valentina's impeachment initiative. However, after discovering that Bob was her top-secret project, Bucky chooses to join the four. They want to confront Valentina and rescue Bob at the Avengers Tower, formerly known as the Wash Tower, in New York. In the meantime, Valentina makes an effort to persuade Bob that she made him, endowed him with abilities, and demands obedience. However, when she takes hold of his hand, Bob is sent back to his early years, when his father died as a result of his error. Bob eventually consents to work on her project as she leaves. After sharing this with Mel, Valentina asks the media to reveal her true project. However, the team discovers that Bob has undergone a radical transformation when they arrive to Wash Tower. He was sent there to get rid of them, and Valentina now refers to him as Sentry. We watch as Sentry easily defeats everyone, and forces the team to flee. But Sentry says, "I'm a god, and gods don't take orders," in response to Valentina's order for him to murder them. He turns on Valentina. With Mel's assistance, she escapes by using a talent switch she had created. However, Sentry starts erasing people as soon as he rises again, bringing the city to a pitch-black state. Massive destruction results from this. As they celebrate and applaud, Bucky, Yelena, the U.S. agent, and Ghost save lives. When Valentina sees this, she is astonished. That's when Bob comes back. Yelena chooses to visit his shadow dimension in an attempt to soothe him, where she again relives her traumatic experiences. She tries to help Bob there by talking to him and telling him that in order to combat his inner darkness, he needs to move on from his past. To save her and Bob, the squad shows up. Together, they assist him in facing his sinister memories, which enables Bob to vanquish his evil persona and bring everyone out of the shadows. Bob also overcomes his own darkness, but he regrettably loses all memory of it afterwards. The world needs the Avengers, and now they're back, Valentina tells the media, alluding to Yelena, U.S. Agent, Ghost, Bucky, and Red Guardian. While everyone is in disbelief, Yelena makes sure Valentina never forgets that they saved her.